In the corridors of time, before kingdoms rose and fell, before laws were written by men, there was a cry of a people oppressed, a nation not yet born, yet bound in chains. Their backs were scarred, their songs silenced, their hope fading under the sun of Egypt's tyranny. For 400 years, the Israelites served as slaves in the land of the pharaohs, but the God of their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, had not forgotten them. From the reeds of the Nile came the answer. A Hebrew woman, in defiance of Pharaoh's decree to kill all newborn sons of her people, placed her child in a basket, sealing it with pitch, and set it afloat on the waters. Guided not by river currents, but by divine intent, the basket drifted to the daughter of Pharaoh. She drew the child from the river and named him Moses, meaning drawn out. He was raised in Pharaoh's palace as a prince of Egypt, adorned with the wisdom of Egypt's sages, trained in battle, fluent in the tongues of empire. Yet in his heart burned a question: who am I really? When he witnessed an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave, his true identity stirred within him. Rage overcame reason. Moses struck the Egyptian down and buried him in the sand, but murder does not stay hidden. Pharaoh sought his life, and Moses fled into the wilderness. He wandered through the desolate lands of Midian, far from the luxury of palaces, clothed now in humility. There, he became a shepherd and married Zipporah, the daughter of Jethro, priest of Midian. He lived for decades in quiet exile, but destiny was not finished with Moses. One day, while tending his flock near Mount Horeb, he beheld a mystery, a bush engulfed in flames, yet it was not consumed. As he drew near, a voice called out from the fire, "Moses, Moses." He answered, "Here I am." God declared, "Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. I have seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard their cries. I have come down to deliver them, and I am sending you." Trembling, Moses pleaded unworthiness. "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh?" But God replied, "I will be with you." And so, armed with nothing but a staff, his brother Aaron, and the name of Yahweh, Moses returned to the land of his birth, not as a prince, but as a prophet. Before Pharaoh, the sovereign of the most powerful empire on earth, Moses spoke the unthinkable. "Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, let my people go." Pharaoh laughed, "Who is the Lord that I should obey him?" And so began the divine contest. One by one, 10 plagues fell upon Egypt, each one a blow against its gods, its pride, its economy, and its throne. 1. The Nile turned to blood. The river, Egypt's lifeline, became death itself. 2. Frogs overflowed the land, swarming every chamber, every bed. 3. Lice rose from the dust, covering man and beast alike. 4. Swarms of flies choked the skies. 5. Disease fell upon the livestock. 6. Boils erupted on every Egyptian. 7. Hail and fire rained from the heavens, destroying crops and cattle. 8. Locusts consumed what remained. 9. Darkness veiled the land for 3 days, a darkness that could be felt. Still, Pharaoh's heart was stone. His magicians could not match these signs. His gods remained silent, but pride clung tightly. Then came the final plague, the death of every firstborn in Egypt. Rich or poor, noble or slave, no house was spared, except those marked by the blood of the Lamb. On that night, the Israelites observed the first Passover, eating unleavened bread, prepared to leave in haste. The angel of death passed over homes marked by obedience, but struck the rest. Pharaoh's own son died that night. Grief crushed the palace. Egypt wailed. Finally, Pharaoh relented. "Go, take your people, get out." The exodus began. Over 600,000 men, with women, children, and flocks, marched out of Egypt, led by the cloud of God by day and a pillar of fire by night. Yet Egypt's pride had not died. Pharaoh changed his mind and pursued the Israelites to the shores of the Red Sea. With the sea before them and chariots behind, the people cried out in terror. But Moses raised his staff, and the waters parted. Walls of water rose on each side. Israel crossed on dry ground. When Pharaoh's armies followed, the waters crashed back down, drowning horse and rider. Israel stood safely on the other shore, and the song of Moses rang across the desert. The Lord is my strength and my song. He has become my salvation. Their journey through the wilderness had begun, but the purpose was not merely escape. It was covenant. 3 months later, they arrived at Mount Sinai. There, amid thunder, smoke, and trumpet blasts, God descended in fire upon the mountain. The people stood afar in fear. Moses alone ascended into the cloud to meet with the Almighty. There, God revealed not only his power, but his character. From the mouth of God came 10 commandments, 10 divine decrees etched in stone by the very finger of the Eternal. These were not laws born of politics or culture. They were the moral framework of the universe, the revelation of holiness. 1. You shall have no other gods before me. 2. You shall not make idols or bow to them. 3. You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God. 4. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 5. Honor your father and mother. 6. You shall not murder. 7. You shall not commit adultery. 8. You shall not steal. 9. You shall not bear false witness. 10. You shall not covet. These commands were given not to enslave, but to liberate, to form a people set apart, a kingdom of priests, a holy nation. These commandments would shape the conscience of generations, echoing through time, etched into stone, and into the hearts of those who believe. But even as Moses communed with God, down below the people turned away. In impatience and fear, they begged Aaron to make gods for them. From their golden earrings, he fashioned a calf, an idol reminiscent of Egypt, and they worshipped it with song and revelry. When Moses descended and saw the corruption, he smashed the stone tablets in righteous fury. The covenant was broken. 3,000 fell that day as judgment swept the camp. Yet God, in mercy, called Moses again. This time, Moses carved new tablets, and God again inscribed his law. When Moses came down the second time, his face shone with radiant light. The people could not bear to look directly at him. He had stood in the presence of glory. From there, the journey continued, with tabernacles built, laws expanded, and lessons learned. There were rebellions and miracles, manna and water from rocks, fire by night and cloud by day. But through it all, the 10 Commandments remained the heart of the covenant. They were not just laws, they were a call, a mirror of what it meant to live in harmony with God and one another. Moses, the man once hidden in the reeds, now stood as lawgiver, prophet, and mediator. His mission was not just to bring the people out of Egypt, but to bring Egypt out of the people. In the final days of his life, Moses would climb another mountain, Mount Nebo. There, God showed him the promised land, though he would not enter it. He died as he had lived, alone with God, his mission complete. But the commandments he carried would live on, passed from stone to scroll, from prophet to priest, from generation to generation. And centuries later, another man would climb a mountain, and from his mouth would come a new law, not abolishing the old, but fulfilling it. You have heard it said, but I say to you. Jesus of Nazareth, the Son of God, would take the law from stone and write it on hearts. The fire of Sinai would become the fire of the Spirit. The covenant written in blood would now be fulfilled in his own. So the story endures. Moses and the 10 Commandments stand as pillars in the epic of redemption, not merely tales of law and miracles, but the revelation of a God who hears, who delivers, who commands, and who dwells with his people. In the burning bush, in the parted sea, on the mountain of fire, the voice of the Lord still calls, "Come, be holy, as I am holy."